Okay, so today we're going to discuss some questions that I gave you for the preparation for your unit tests next week. So let's go to the first question. And remember, guys, that you may use your calculator and any notes you have to help you to answer the questions. And yeah, I suggest you do that because it's going to save your time a lot to answer the questions. Okay, and then if you have, you can just print out a copy of like formulas for the volume and the surface area of shapes in three-dimensional shapes, right? So you just use that because you're going to use that one. Okay, let's go to number one. A cube has a side length of 4 millimeter. What is the volume? So we know that the volume of a cube is equals to s to the power of 3, where s is the side length, right? Because we know that the side length is 4 millimeter, so it's just like 4 to the power of 3. So just use a calculator, you will get 64. And don't forget that, guys, use the unit again, and it's skip. Okay, number one is quite easy. Let's go to number two. And here we go. Wait, I need to close this first. Okay, number two, a cuboid is like a rectangular prism, has a side length of 4, 5, and 8, right? So it can be anywhere. Well, let's say this is like this is the 4, this is the 8, this is the 5, can be anywhere actually. And we know that the cuboid, the volume of cuboid is just like length times width times height. So the volume is just like equals to L times W times H. It's equals to 4 times 5 times 8, right? 4 times 5 is 20, 20 times 8 is equals to 160. And remember to write down the unit. Okay, so the next one is number 3. It's given a right angle triangle base prism, as shown below. Calculate the volume. So this is what you need to understand, that it said that a right angle triangle base, and then this is said prism. You know that prism has the same shape for the base and what do you call it, like the top. But it's not always on the top. I mean, when I call the base, it doesn't always on the bottom, right? It doesn't always, if you see the image in here, it doesn't mean that this is the base. No. Okay. So what you need to see is that you see that the shapes, they're they're the same, right? That is the base and the top. What do you call it? Oh yeah. So in here, guys, it said that a triangle. We know that this is a right angle triangle, right? So this is going to be the base. Why? Because this one and this one has the exact same shape and size, right? So which means that this is going to be the triangle, the base, right? And then this is going to be height. If I like rotate it like a 90 degree, it will be like the base is going to be in the bottom, but this one is going to be pretty easy. So which means that the volume is just like, remember that the concept of prism is just like the volume is just like the base area times the height, right? It's quite easy. So the base area is this triangle, so which means that it's going to be base times height. So remember that, guys, be careful again. The base and the height of the triangle is the perpendicular lines. Okay, so these two are the base and the height of the triangle, not the 5. Okay, the 5 is the hypotenuse, remember that. Okay, so base and height of the triangle always make a 90-degree angle. Okay, so because this is like 3, 4, 5 is like, remember Pythagoras, right? So this is like a right angle triangle, and 3 and 4 in here will be the base and the height. So it means that we'll get 3 times 4 divided by 2. We know that the base the area of a triangle is like base times height divided by 2, right? So this one, and then times it with the height. The height, it means that the height of the prism. Okay, so be very careful. The height of the prism. This is the base area, means that you calculate this one here is the base, is the area of the triangle, and the height here is the height of the prism, which is 11, right? So I can just cancel this one. It's 2, right? 3 times 2 is 6. 6 times 11 is equals to 66 centimeters cube. Sorry, it's volume. Okay. Number 4. Given a cylinder with a radius of 14 centimeter and a height of 10 centimeter, what is the volume? Okay, again, it's the same base thing because we know that the cylinder actually is a prism, right? So why? Because the base part and the top part is the same thing, right? The same shape and the same size, and which means that we can use the So the volume is just equals to the base area, right? Base area times the height. Of course, this is the height of the cylinder, of course. And we know that the base is a circle, right? And you know that the formula of the area of a circle is pi r squared, right? And then that's just the height. And we know that the radius is 14, so it's just pi times 14 squared, and then times the height, which is times 10. Okay, guys, so this is actually, it's going to be pretty easy. Just use a calculator. So it's 14 squared is equals to 196 times 10, we will get 196, and then 0 pi, and we have centimeter cube. Notice that if you don't have any if it's like a multiple choice and you don't have this pi here, so you can use, again, you can just use the calculator to multiply that with the original value that you have. You will get 6,157.52 centimeter cube. So this is correct. Sorry, this is correct and this is correct. But again, if you don't, if you see it in the options, that the option are having this sign here, which is the pi, so I suggest that you don't really need to change the pi into like 3.14 or any numbers. So just use this. Okay. Okay. So that is for number 4. Let's go to number 5. Okay, number 5, a rectangular pyramid as shown below here, like this one here. And if the rectangular base has a length of 6 decimeter and 4 decimeter, and the perpendicular height of the pyramid is 12, what is the volume? Okay, so the difference between the pyramid and the prism is pretty easy. In terms of volume, the volume of a cylinder is just 1/3 of the volume of the prism, right? So that is the very basic logic that we can see, because if you see if you see the formula, it will be like 1/3 times base area times height, right? So just like you do the same thing with the prism, like base area times height, and then you divide it by 3. That is the only logic, the easiest logic we can see. Okay, so you do the same thing, because we know that the question is about the volume, so the volume is equals to 1/3, right? And then times the base area, and then times the height. And you have all the information here actually, and we know because the base area is a rectangle, right? And then it has a length of 6 and 4, so this is just 6 times 4, because we know that the area of a rectangle is just like length times width, right? This one and this one. Multiply that, and then multiply with the height, and then it said that perpendicular. Remember that the height needs to be perpendicular, 90-degree angle, and it's 12, right? So it's times 12. So we can do a lot of things with this calculation. I can just like cancel this one here, right, with this one, or we can cancel with the 6, or yeah, it's up to you actually. I'm gonna cancel that with 12. So if I cancel that, this becomes 1, this becomes 4, right? So 6 times 4 is 24, and then you times it again with 4. So 24 multiplied by 4 is equals to 96. So this is equals to 96 decimeter cube. Okay, so let's get to number 6. Number 6 is actually almost the same thing like number 5. It is a pyramid, right? Actually, cone is a pyramid, but the base is a circle. That's why we call it a different name, which is cone. And you do the same thing if we're talking about volume of three-dimensional shapes, basic three-dimensional shape like this. It's just like the base area times height if it is prism, and you divide it by 3 if it is a pyramid. Okay. So again, if I have this, we don't know the unit, so you don't really need to write down the unit, just unit. And here we have the height, perpendicular height of 18, and then we have the radius of 7. So again, the volume is just 1/3. Remember, why is it 1/3? Because this is a pyramid. Okay, it's not a prism. A pyramid needs to be, the volume needs to be multiplied by 1/3, or you divide it by 3. It's the same thing. Okay, times the base area, and then times the height. Okay, so it's at 1/3, and then we know that the base area is the circle one, this one, right? So which just has a radius of 7, and we know that a circle has an area, a formula of area of pi r squared, right? And then just times height. Okay, so I'm gonna rewrite that, and pi is just leave pi, r is 7, right? 7 squared, and then times it with 18. So remember guys, if you see anything like this, this is actually it's going to be not too hard, because if you don't really need to put this 1/3 into the calculator, because you can cancel this 3 and 18, right? So this is divided by 3 becomes 1, divided by 3 becomes 6. So what you all need to do is to calculate this using a calculator, and you will get 294 pi. And because we don't have any units, just write down unit cube, right? If it is an essay question, right? Okay, so it's quite easy, right? And the next one is number 7. Given a sphere with a diameter of 10 millimeters shown below, calculate the volume. So this is a different one. As we have previously learned about prism and pyramid, this is base area times height, which is for the prism, and the pyramid is the base area times height and then divided by 3. But this one is a little bit different. So the volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. Okay, so you can just see the formula, and you can just put it there. Okay, so in here it said that it has a diameter of 10. Be very careful. This is the diameter, not the radius. What we need here is the radius. Okay, so the radius is just half of that, which is equals to 5, right? So that is the most important thing that you need to see in the question. Sometimes it deceives you, right? So if the diameter is 10, then the radius is half from that. So it's 10 divided by 2 is 5 millimeters. So what you need to put in here, the r is 5. So it's equal to 4/3 times pi times 5 to the power of 3. Again, you can use a calculator. You can use a decimal number or a fraction. It's up to you actually. So if I have 5 to the power of 3, it will be 125. Times that with 4, I will get 500/3 pi. So it's 500/3 pi, and because it's a millimeter, so it's millimeter cube. If you want to convert this into decimal, it's fine, no problem. Divided by 3. If I make that into like 166.7, 166.7 pi millimeter cube, it's fine. And if I want to multiply that with I don't want the pi, and you will get 523.6 millimeter cubes. All of these answers are correct. So, but I suggest that use an easier form, which is this one, right? Because most of the time, if we see numbers like pi, because we know that it is in a rational number, so sometimes we get a little bit. Sometimes we make errors, right, when we round it up. So I suggest that if you have in your calculator, if it's shown a fraction, just write down that fraction. Okay. Okay, that is for number 7. Let's go to number 8. Okay, number 8. Okay, so this time, previously, if you remember one for step 7 is talking about volume. So for number 8, we are going to talk about surface area. And remember that the very basic concept of surface area is just calculating the area of the surface, remember? And we have formulas actually. You can just use the formulas. It's quite easy. And for number 8, because it said that a rectangular prism is the same thing as a cuboid, it's the same thing. And we know that it has a sign of 8, 10, and 12. Let's say this is like 8. This is 12, and it is 10. It can be any numbers. And we know that the surface area of a cuboid is just like 2 multiplied by the multiplication of like 8 times 12, and then 8 times 10, and then the last one is 10 times 12. Right? So if we write this down in a what do you call it? A formula, it's just like 2 times length times width plus length times height plus width times height, right? So basically it's like pairing this 8 and 12, and then 8 and 10, and 12 and 10, right? So it's easy as that. So what you're actually calculating is just like the area of this part here, right? So this part, and then this part, and then that part on the right side and the left side. So basically that is what you are calculating. Yeah, we have already done that in the classroom, okay? So yeah. Okay, so just calculate this, and then you will get, sorry, that's 96, wait, plus 80 plus 120 equals 2 times 2. I will get 500. Sorry, I'm gonna go to the final question, final answer. I'm gonna get 592 in terms of centimeters square. Remember, that the unit is a square, because again this is the area, the surface area. Area is in form is a square because it's a two-dimensional shape. Okay, so let's go to number 9. Number 9. Okay, here we go. So again, it's a surface area, right? So the very basic, again, the very basic concept here is to find out the area of each of the surface, right? So in here, we have 5 surfaces. Okay, I'm gonna mark that. So the first one is this one here, right? The right angle triangle, and the next one is this one, right? This red one, these two red right angle triangle are the same exact triangle. Okay, the same exact triangle. So you can if you want to find the area of that, just like half times 7 times 24, and then multiply that by 2, right? So that's for the right part. And then we have another shapes in here, which is this one here, right? It's a form of rectangle, which is the length of 24 and then the width of 22, right? So, and then we have another one is on the left side here, which is this one, right? This is also a rectangle, which is like, this is 22, right? And then this is 7. Okay, and the last one is, it's kind of hard to see it here. So for this one here, right? So for this one, guys, you need to use the Pythagoras formula because we don't know this side yet. We don't know the length of this side, right? So that is what we're going to find. Okay, let's name that with X, okay? Name it with C. Okay, so if we use that rectangle triangle, right? Sorry, it's not triangle. So we have 7 here and then 24 in here. And then this is a C, right? Remember, the C square equals to A square plus B square, right? So let's use that. So we have C square is equals to 7 square plus 24 square. I'm gonna use, I'm gonna put all the numbers here. And then C square is equals to 24 square is equals to 576. And then 7 square is equals to 49. So if you add them, it equals to 625. Which means that the C is going to be the square root of 625, which is equals to 25. And there we go, we have the C is 25. So the surface area, the total surface area will be, the first one is, we know that we have 2 of that triangle, which is this one and this one, right? So 2 of that, times it with the area of a triangle, which is half times the base of the triangle, of course, times the height of the triangle, which is 7. And the next one is the this one here, right? So it's just 24 times 22. And the next one is going to be this one here, which is going to be 22 times 7, right? This is 22 and this is 7. And the last one is going to be 25 times 22. Okay, so if you put it in the calculator, you will get 1,400 meter square. Okay, a cube has a volume of 27 meter cube. Calculate its side length. Okay, so this is like the reverse of what we have done for number 1, right? For number 1, you know the side length and you want to find the volume. And this one, you know the volume and you want to find the side length. So it's the reverse, or we call it the inverse operation of that. So we know that the volume is equal to S to the power of 3, right? And we know this is the volume is 27. We know that the volume is 27. And then we don't know, what we don't know here is the value of the S, which is the side length. So S to the power of 3. So in here, it's pretty easy because the number is also easy. Just think of a number. If you multiply 3 times, you will get 27, right? So that is what to the power of 3 means, right? So example, like 2 to the power of 3, it means like 2 times 2 times 2, right? You multiply that exact number 3 times. 2 times 2 times 2 equals to 8, right? So again, so it's quite easy here. So S is going to be equals to 3 actually, because we know that 3 times 3 times 3 is equals to 27. Or you can use the calculator by writing down like this. So S is going to be the cube root of 27. Or you can write it in your calculator is 27 to the power of 1 over 3. Okay, so if you don't have this option in the calculator, you can use this one, right? The power is 1 over 3. Why? Because this is the power of 1, this is the power of 3. This is 1 over 3. And then you will get in your calculator is equals to 3. And don't forget to write down the unit. Okay, And don't forget to write down the process, of course. Okay, so number 11. Number 11, here we go. A rectangle prism has a side length of x, 2x, and 3x. We don't know the value of x, but all of them are the same, 40x. And if the volume is 48 units square, calculate the value of x. Again, this is like the opposite operation of number 2, right? We know the side length, a lot of like the length, the width, and the height. And we find out the volume. The question is about the volume, but this one is the inverse. Okay, so let's just write it down. Okay, because you know that the formula is the volume is equals to length times width times the height, and we know that the volume is 48, right? And then we know all of these are the length and the width and the height. It doesn't matter where you put it. It's just like x, and then you multiply with 2x, and then you multiply with 3x, right? And then you simplify, because we know that x times 2x times 3x is 6x to the power of 3, right? Because this 2 times 3 is 6, and x times x is x to the power of 3. So we can simplify this. If I want to write it down like this, it's fine, right? So if I want to find the value of x, so remember that to divide both side by 6, right? If you divide it by 6, you will get x to the power of 3. If you divide the right side with 6, you will get equals to 8, right? Because 48 divided by 6 is equals to 8, right? And then you do the same thing like number 10, right? And number 10 is it? Oh yeah, so x is equals to the cube root of 8, or you can write down like this in your calculator, and you will get equals 2. And unit square, because it doesn't have any unit like centimeter, just write down 2 units. There you go. That is the value of x. Okay, let's get to number 12. Okay, here we go. Okay, given a cylinder with a radius of 10 and the height of 30. So yeah, this is going back to the question about the surface area. And again, you can use a formula. We have already done that before. And if you don't know, you can browse it. Okay, guys, you can browse it. I mean, like I figured before, you can use a formula. You can just like print it out, right? So to get you ready for the quiz, right? Okay, so in terms of surface area of a cylinder, we will have what we'll call it 2 pi r and then r plus h. Okay, so 2 pi r plus h, right? So where do we get this? Actually, because we know that this is the area of this is pi r squared, and the area of this is pi r squared, right? So we get 2 pi r squared because we have 2. And for the this one here is 2 pi r h, and you will get this formula. Okay, so actually we have done this before in class, but yeah, here we go. And because we know that, well, we know the formula here, we just like put all of the numbers. We have 2 pi, and we know that the radius is 10. Remember this radius. Be careful not to be swapped with the diameter. And then the last one is the r is 10, and the h is 30. Okay, so this is going to be 20 pi, and this is going to be 40. So it leaves 800 pi centimeters squared. Okay, again, if you want to use decimal, is fine, but I recommend you to use this form, because this is going to be more exact value. Okay, let's go to number 13. Okay, a cube has a surface area of 294 centimeters squared. Calculate its side length. And actually, we do the same thing like before. We know the side length, and we find the surface area. This is the inverse operation. So whatever you do, whatever you find, whenever you see this kind of question, just open the what do you call it? Just write down. Just write down the formula first, right? Because it said about the surface area, and you know that the surface area of a cube is 6s squared. Okay, 6s squared. And then we don't know the s, but we know the surface area, which is equals to 294. You can write down 294 equals to 6s squared. Again, I can divide both of the terms by 6, right? Both sides divided by 6, so I can write it down like this. Equals to s squared, right? So 294 divided by 6 is equals to 49, right? So it's 49 equals to s squared. I can rewrite that as s squared equals to 49. And I can put this 2 to the right side. It will be like this, right? Square 49, which is equals to 7. And because it's centimeter, write down centimeter. Okay, next, number 14. Okay, a cone has a volume of 100 pi millimeter cube. If the perpendicular height is 12 millimeter, calculate the radius of the cone. Okay, so again, the first thing that you need to do is just write down any formulas you know that related to this question, because we know that the question is about a volume of a cone, right? A cone, right? This cone has a volume of this. So the volume of a cone itself, the volume is 1/3 times base area, which is the pi r squared, and then times the height. Okay, you can see this in the formula. And then it said that we don't know the radius, but we know that the height is 12. So, well, we know that the volume is 100 pi. So it's 100 pi equals to 1/3 pi. We don't know the r, and we know the height, which is 12. Okay, so in terms of, in here, remember guys, if you see this kind of calculation, see whether you can simplify it. Because this one is pretty easy, because you can see that the 3 and the 12 can cancel like this, right? So that leaves 100 pi is equals to, let me write down, so 100 pi is equals to 4 pi r squared, right? And then to find the r, so you divide both of the terms on the left side and the right side with 4 pi. Or I can rewrite that as 100 pi over 4 pi is equals to r squared, right? The square, we'll leave it for later, okay? So which means that I can just cancel the pi, right? So keep notice that if you see a division like this, it's going to be not too hard, because I pick a number that is divisible. I mean, like, it's quite easy. And pi and divided by pi is just 1, right? Yeah, I can just cancel this, right? So I can just calculate 100 divided by 4. 100 divided by 4 is equals to 25, right? So it's 25 equals to r squared. If I rewrite that, I can write down like this. And you know what to do, right? So it's like 20 square root of 25, which is equals to 5. And the units in system millimeter. Okay, number 15. Okay, and it has an iron wire of a length with a length of 20 meters. If you want to make some cube-shaped nets from the wire with a side length of 15 centimeters, what is the maximum number of net that you can make? So in here, guys, what you need to understand that this is a net. We call it net here. It's like inside that iron wire. It means that you're making only like these parts, like this one and this one and this one and this one, right? Because it's a wire, right? So the first thing that you need to do is to find out how many wires you have. I mean, how many pieces of wire do you need to make one cube with a side length of 15 centimeters, right? So how many wires are there in, like, how many 15s are there in a cube? Okay, so if this is 15, this is also 15, this is also 15, all of them will be 15, right? All of the side line will be 15. So the question, how many what do you call it, sideline are there, right? So, okay, how many are there? So we can just like count how many of that. Wait, okay, here we have 1 and, sorry, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It means that we have 12 of that 15, right? So we have 12 of that. So which means that if you want to make one cube, you need 15 centimeters times 12, because we have 12 of that side line, right? So 15, if you multiply with 12, you'll get 180, right? So which means that you need 180 centimeters to make one cube from that iron wire. You have 20 meters, right? How many maximum of net that you can make? So in here, because we have different units, you need to make them the same, okay? So I'm going to choose to convert 20 meters into centimeters, right? So meters to centimeters is just like multiplying with 100, so you will get 2,000 centimeters. And then you have to make one cube, you will need 180 centimeters. So which means that the number of cube that you can make is just dividing the length of the net that you have and divided by one the net, the wire that you need to make one cube, right? I can just cancel this. So I can read decimal number. It's okay actually. We have 200 divided by 18. You will get 100, like 11.111, right? 11.1111, so on, so on, so on, right? And you need to round it up like to the lowest number, right? It's you cannot make 12, right? Because it's like you can make 11, but the next cube is not going to be full, right? So which means that the maximum number of net that you can make is 11 cube, right? So there you go. Okay, number 16. Number 16. Here we go. Okay, a bathtub with the shape of cube. Yeah, let's just say this is a bathtub, and with the inner side length. Okay, so of 120 centimeters. So this is like 120. All of them are 120 centimeter, right? And then it's said that it's filled with 5/8 of water. Calculate the volume of the water inside the tube in liters. So in here, guys, it's the concept is pretty easy. You only need to find the volume of the cube first, and then you multiply with 5/8 because we only fill it with 5/8 of water, right? Because it's the volume of water. So the volume of the water, let's say we have the volume of the cube first. The volume of a cube is just s to the power of 3, right? And you can just like 120 times that with to the power of 3. You can use a calculator, right? And then 120 to the power of 3 is equals to 1728000 centimeter cube. Okay, so remember, unit really does important because the last question here, because you need to convert that into liters. And in here, guys, 1 liter is equals to 1 decimeter cube. Please keep in mind, this is very important. Okay, so what you need to do here is you can do like convert this to liter first, or you multiply by 5/8. It's up to you actually. I'm gonna make this into decimeter first. Okay, so because we know that in centimeter cube to decimeter cube is to divide that by 1000. So this is going to be 1728 decimeter cube, or 1728 liters. It's the same thing, right? Remember that in unit conversion, right, centimeter and decimeter is here, but because it has to the power of 3, guys, although it's just like going up here, means that you need to divide it by 1000 because 1000 has 3 0, right, because it's to the power of 3, okay? So which means that because it said that it's filled with the 5/8 of water, so I'm gonna mark that 5/8. So we only need to the volume of the water is just 5/8 of that. So 5/8 times 1728. So again, you can use calculator. So I will get times 5 divided by 8 is equals to 1080 liters. Okay, so as simple as that. Okay, let's go to number 17. I need to cut that. Okay, so number 17. There we go. So number 17 and 18 actually is the same question. I mean, like, it has the same information, but just different question. Okay, so a swimming pool has a dimension shown like this. I have this hint for you guys to know this is a trapezoid base prism. Okay, I'll find the volume of the water. So it's the same thing like we see the right angle. Sorry, so triangular base prism, right? It's sometimes you don't see the base on the bottom, right? So the base in here is not this guy here, right? It's not that guy. It's instead of this guy over here. Can you see that these two shapes are the same, right? And it shapes like a trapezoid. And so the volume is basically just the base area times the height because it is a prism. Okay, remember that. So the volume, I'm going to write down here, is the base area, right, multiplied by the height. Remember that this height is the height of the prism. Okay, so when you see here the height of the prism itself, because the base and the top, like the base is this one, and it's like the top, what do you call it, the top part of this prism, which means that the height of the prism is this one here. This is the height of the prism. Okay, so keep in mind that like, be very careful not to switch it with the trapezoid, with the height of the trapezoid with the height of the prism. Okay, so let's start from the base area first. So we know that the base shape like a trapezoid. It means that the area of a trapezoid, if you see it in the formula booklet, I mean like formulas, the area of a trapezoid is the addition of the two parallel lines. And here we have this shape, right, the trapezoid side, and the two parallel lines are these, this one here and this one here, right? This is 1.2, and then you add it with the other parallel lines, the parallel line of this one here, which is this one. This one is 2.4. This one, 2.4. And then divided by 2, and then times with the height. The height, what we mean here, is the height of the trapezoid. The height of the trapezoid is this one here, which is 25. Okay, so again, be very careful, guys. This one here is just the trapezoid, and then you multiply it with the height of the prism, right? The height of the prism is this guy here, so it's 8. Okay, so let's do the calculation here. Use the calculator. 1.2 plus 2.4 is 3.6. 3.6 divided by 2 is 1.8. 1.8 multiplied by 25, you'll get 45. So this one here is the base area is 45. So this is 45, and then you multiply that with 8. Okay, and then you get 360. Okay, so this 360 is in the unit of meter cube. Okay, pay attention really closely that the question is for you to answer in the unit of liters. Okay, so what I said before, I have made you some notes that 1 liter is equals to 1 decimeter cube. So basically you're going to convert the meter cube into decimeter cube to get the liter. So as you can see that if you see in the like the stairs here, right, and then meter and then decimeter, right, and then centimeter. If you go from meter to decimeter, you're like going down once, but because this is in a cube power, so you don't multiply with 10, but you multiply with 1000, because you know that 1000 has 3 zeros right here, 3 zeros. And this is like to the power of 3. Okay, so if I multiply that with 1000, I will get 360,000 liters. Okay, so that is the volume of the trapezoid base prism, the whole shape. But remember that you need to pay attention again to read the question very carefully. That in here, the question is for you only to fill that with 4 over 5 full. This is if you put water, if you pour water in a full, like the pool will be full of water. But this question here is just 4 over 5, so which means that the volume of the water is just 4 over 5 times the full volume of the shape, which is like 360,000. Okay, so if I multiply that 4 over 5 multiplied by 360,000, it will be 288,000 liters. So there you go. So this is the final answer. Okay, the last one for number 18. Let's go to number 18. Okay, number 18 in here. Basically, we have done number 17. To get to number 18, you need to answer number 17 correctly. Okay, you need to do that correctly, because for number 18, you will use the information from number 17 to get the answer to number 18. And so because we know that the volume of the water, so the volume of the prism itself is 360,000 liters, right? There you go. And then, okay, let's just read the question first. A water pipe that runs water with the depth of 20 liters per second will be used to fill the pool. So what does this mean? It means that if for every second, you will get 20 liters of water. Okay, so 1 second is going to fill with 20 liters of water. So what if you have 2 seconds? If I get in 2 seconds, I will get like 40 liters. 3 seconds and 60 liters, and so on, so on, so on, so on. So the question is, how much time do you need to fill it, to fill the pool with full of water, right? Because it said that calculate how much time does the pipe need to fill the pool until it's full, right? Until it's full. Because we know that when you fill the pool with water, like full, you will need 360,000 liters. And you have 20 liters per second as the depth of the water. So it's going to be quite easy for this one since you know the volume of the prism itself. So the depth at the time needed is just to divide the volume of the prism by the depth. That's it, right? So basically, like, you have 360,000. You need 360,000, but you for every second you get 20 liters. So how many seconds or how many minutes that you need to fill it until it's full? Okay, so let's just calculate that. You will have 360,000 divided by 20, right? It's quite easy. So just cancel the 0, and we have 36000 divided by 2. So just like 36 divided by 2 is going to be 18. It's 18,000 in seconds. Okay, so most of the time, guys, you need to convert this into like minutes or hours, because we know that 1 minute is equals to 60 seconds. You can divide this into, you can convert this into minutes, right? So if you want to convert that into minutes, so you only need to divide that by 60, right? Cancel the 0. And 18 divided by 6 is 3, right? So this is 3. So it's going to be 3 minutes, right? It's going to be 300 minutes. Sorry guys, I'm running out of space. So it's 300 minutes. Okay, and then if this can be also converted into hours, right? Because we know that 1 hour is equals to 60 minutes. I can write this down as 300 divided by 60 in hours, right? Again, like cancel the zeros, and the 30 divided by 6 is equals to 5. So because it doesn't specifically ask you to convert this into minutes or into seconds or into hours, so basically if you answer it until here, you have the correct answer. I'm not going to reduce the score. Okay, so this is correct, and this is correct. Okay, so you can choose, okay, because it doesn't ask specifically. But if the question have a specific or instruction for you to convert that into a certain unit, you need to do that. Okay, but because for this one, for this example, you don't have to do that. You can just stop until you get 18,000 seconds. Okay, so basically that's it. So good luck, guys.